So this is just going to be a bit of a review on the Drift Ghost X and some of the issues I've had with it. I've owned this for about 2 weeks now, and on the whole it's been pretty good, but there are some issues I want to talk about because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and the manual doesn't really explain things too great. So the first problem I had with it was charging it for the first time. Now in the manual, all it tells you to do is charge it for 2.5 hours before first use. And that's basically all it says. It doesn't tell you when it's, like, how to know if it's fully charged, or if it even tells you when it's fully charged, which didn't make any sense to me. Like, all modern electronics tell you when they're fully charged, otherwise they just charge forever. So I put it into charge for 2.5 hours. This screen here went red, and it showed like a USB plug with a lightning bolt through it. At the same time, this LED here continuously flashes red when it's on charge. 2.5 hours later it was still doing it, so I left it. On the whole, I left it on charge for about 5 hours, and it was still flashing. It showed nothing to tell me it was fully charged. So I contacted Drift because that didn't make sense to me, and they said to format the memory card, reset the camera, and try to charge it without a memory card in there. Bearing in mind this is a brand new device, first time I've ever tried to charge it with a brand new memory card that's never been used before. It just seemed odd that I had to do that on a brand new product. Anyway, I did do that, put it back on charge again, and it was charging properly. Just for the record, it was actually charging the battery beforehand, but it just wasn't telling me when it was done charging. So if you have this issue, this is what's supposed to happen. So this will go red when it's on charge, and obviously that will flash red as well. When it's fully charged, this will go green, and it will show a charge plug, like a USB plug with, I think it has a tick symbol in the middle of it. This will go green, just like it is in this video now. This camera is so bad at auto-focusing. I apologise for that. Logitech, what can you do? Anyway, so yeah, they'll go green, then about a minute later, this will go out and this will go out. So it will look like the camera is just off. But that's when you know it's fully charged. It will go green for about a minute, then it will go off completely. And to clarify, you can put it back on charge. These will go red, then about a minute later they'll go green, then about a minute after that they'll go off completely. So that's when you know it's fully charged. So that's been fine ever since I did what Drift said. So no more issues there. The next issue, or thing I don't like about this camera, is the included USB cable. The wire feels thick, it feels well made, but it isn't. This connection is very loose inside here, and it wears out really quickly. So you can sort of see that it's quite wobbly. Now I've not knocked it or anything like that, but when I plug this into the PC to transfer files and whatnot, if I just so much as nudge it, it will lose the connection to the laptop, which is really annoying. So I've just been using my own cable, which I've had for a few years, which actually fits in the device a lot firmer than the supplied cable does. So just something to bear in mind. If you're going to get this camera, I'd recommend not using the included cable, and maybe just use it for another device you might have instead. Next thing, which is going to be fairly hard to show on camera, you get two mounts in the box. One is a flat mount and one is a curved mount. So this is my helmet. It's a flip front helmet, and the mount you get with the Drift, it's like a curved mount, and what it really needs is a very smooth curved surface like this part of the helmet, but obviously if I stuck it on here I wouldn't get any footage because it's way too far back. So you kind of, with this helmet I'm kind of limited to where I can stick the camera, the mount rather. Can't put it there because there's too much of a dip in the plastic, it wouldn't make a good connection. Here there's like a dip in the plastic as well. So you pretty much, basically what I had to do was add my own 3M tape. Let's see if I can show you. Because what I did first with the mount that came supplied, I stuck it like here, which was the flattest bit of the helmet I could really stick it while getting some footage at the same time. But even still, like, the angle was awful. It was sort of pointing out to the right of the helmet, not straight on. So the only thing I could do was stick it here. So that's like the only way you're going to get any decent footage. Now I'd already stuck it back here once, so obviously that 3M foam tape wasn't going to work anymore. Had to peel it off and stick it back down here. Now you can buy this 3M foam tape. This is from eBay. It's about £4, and it's very strong stuff. I've been using it for years to like stick emblems on my car and things like that. So that's what I did. Peeled the old foam off the mount, cut some of this off, stuck it on the bottom, and if you can see on the camera, I sort of did my best to make it seat flush, even though the helmet has this design where it has like raised parts on it. So I had to sort of do 2 feet here and then just one piece in the middle to make it sit flush. That said, it's very firm now. I could probably pick the entire helmet up just by the mount and it'll be fine. Right, so what's the issue then? Well, I bought a cheap eBay microphone. It's £3.50. You can see the cable hanging out for it there. Basically the cable wraps around the inside of the helmet and the microphone itself is behind the cheek pad. Now you get this included adapter, if I can find where I put it. So you get this included adapter here, and all you do, you plug this end into there, and then this end goes into the USB on the camera. Now look at the state of that. It's been less than 2 weeks I've been using the microphone, the external microphone, and that's bent and it's pretty much ruined. The problem is, for some reason, well, I'll just show you. So you plug the camera in here, and then you'll plug that in the bottom, and there you go, you've got an external microphone. The problem is this cable is going to knock your shoulder when you're riding. So it'll be plugged in like this. Imagine the helmet's on your head. That wire is going to get knocked around and bent, and that's going to bend that, because obviously your shoulder and your jacket and stuff is going to get in the way. For some reason Drift did not supply an adapter which is at a right angle. You'd think, it just makes way more sense to me to have a adapter which plugs in here as normal, but then the cable actually sticks out the back, so then you can route the cabling a lot neater and without putting any strain on the port itself. But they didn't do that, so you have this big chunky plug sticking out the bottom, which is just going to knock your shoulder. So that, I don't really want to use that anymore, because that's pretty much knackered. You can buy these adapters on eBay, but you have to be very careful which one you get, because Drift use a 10-pin mini USB port. I ordered an adapter just like this, but a right-angled one, and it wouldn't receive the audio from the microphone because it was a 5-pin adapter, a 5-pin mini USB plug. Most of them are 5-pin that you'll find online. I've ordered a different one from Hong Kong which claims to be 10-pin, so that should work. If not, Drift do sell their own cable which it's basically a cable and a charger cable in one. So you have like a USB cable coming out as well as a microphone cable, and it plugs into a single spot here. So you can basically use an external microphone and charge the camera at the same time. That costs £10, and that £10 cable does have a right angle coming out of it. So, and apparently I've heard it's a much tighter fit in that USB port. So yeah, I don't know why they didn't just include that cable with the camera to begin with. Instead you get this shit thing which is just going to break really quickly. And I'm not the only one that this has happened to. I've seen other YouTube videos and whatnot. It's quite a common thing. Because, you know, there's plenty of helmets that aren't fully smooth. A lot of helmets have these little designs in them, like curves and whatnot. So you are, especially a flip front helmet, you're limited to where you can mount it. And I have to mount it quite low down. I can't put it here, because that's just gonna, do you know what I mean? Because I like to ride with the flip front flipped up sometimes. So, whatever. And then you might find this interesting. That's just a bit of 3M tape. Not 3M, sorry, it's Gorilla Tape. And what I've done there is just got a bit of wire and sort of wrapped it around this mount. And what I do is I just stick these bits here behind the tape. So if that mount were to ever fail, it will pop out and it will just like hang off the tape like that. That said, I have bought a much neater version of that on eBay. You can find them on eBay. Just put in GoPro, what is it? GoPro safety tether, and it's literally the same sort of thing, but it's like a suction cup which goes on the helmet, and you get this like piece of string basically which wraps around it, and it basically achieves the same thing. If it were to ever pop out the mount, the tether will save it so it doesn't fall on the road and trash your brand new camera. And lastly, the last issue I've had with this is you'll probably find in the settings you can record in a low bit rate, a medium bit rate, or a high bit rate. Now I'll just show you the micro SD card that I use in this camera, if I can get it out. I have absolutely no nails. So that's the USB, the micro SD card that I use. And the problem I was having was if I put it on high bit rate in 1080p 30 or 720p 60, what was happening was it will do like a video clip for about 10 minutes, and then seemingly quite randomly it will do smaller video clips of like 3 or 4 seconds each. And it was basically, it's meant to record continuously and create 29 minutes and 50-second clips continuously until you stop recording. On high bit rate it wasn't doing that, so I guess that's an issue with the card. Even though it's a class 10 with up to 100 megabits per second write speed, it just can't keep up at high bit rate. As soon as I turned the bit rate down to medium, it was creating these long files of 29 minutes and 50 seconds each, basically working how it should do. So I have ordered an even faster micro SD card. So that's just something to bear in mind. Drift don't tell you that. Drift just tell you use a class 10 or higher and you'll be fine, but that's just not the case. Go for the fastest read and write speed you can get, you can afford basically, if you want to use high bit rate anyway. If you want to use medium or low, then just any class 10 should work. But yeah, So that's basically it. Apart from those issues, I've not tried the water resistancy of it, because I don't really plan to use it in the rain often. But the audio is great when you use an external mic. I'm only using a very cheap eBay one. It was like £3.50, but it sounds pretty good, to be fair, for that money. I might upgrade to like a £20, £30 Sony one in the future. And the video quality itself is very good as well. So yeah, overall I'd recommend it. Just bear in mind these small issues. And as far as Drift's customer service goes, they seem a bit hit and miss. Sometimes they'll reply after like a day, other times they'll completely ignore your emails. So I don't know if they're just busy at this time of year because it's summer, we're getting some nice weather. Maybe a lot of people are buying these cameras. I don't know, but for the money, you can't really go wrong. There's not really any competition at that sort of price, which can offer anything better, unless you go for one of those Chinese brands like the SJ Cam. But then you don't really get any warranty with that. So yeah, I hope this helps.